3 a.m. on a Tuesday, heavy rain hammered the apartment building, drowning out every sound except the frantic pounding on the door. It was not a polite knock. It was desperate, a plea for someone, anyone, to open up. Kenta jolted awake on the couch, his heart already racing before his eyes adjusted to the dark.
3 in the morning. Who could be knocking like that?
Still half asleep, he stumbled to the door and unlocked it, not even glancing through the peephole. The door swung open, and a blast of cold, rain-soaked air hit his face. A silhouette stood trembling in the corridor light. Sumire, the quiet delivery girl he saw 3 nights a week, now drenched, a dark bruise on her cheek, clutching a small plastic bag.
Please, don't ask.
Kenta froze. Every instinct screamed at him to do something, but his body refused to move. Then, without a word, he stepped aside. She stumbled in, dripping onto the floor. He shut the door. The door clicked shut, sealing them in a heavy silence. Water dripped from her uniform onto the floor.
What do I do? She's shaking like a leaf. And that bruise. Did someone attack her?
Kenta stepped around her and grabbed a thick white towel from the bathroom, then held it out.
Here. Dry off. I'll put the kettle on.
She took the towel and wrapped it around herself, still clutching the bag. He led her to the couch in the kitchen. Kenta's hands shook as he filled the kettle. He didn't know what to do, but he couldn't just stand there. Minutes later, he returned with 2 mugs. Sumire looked up at him for the first time since she'd arrived.
Thank you.
She held the mug but didn't drink. The plastic bag sat in her lap like a secret. He gave her dry clothes and his bed, then lay on the couch. When dawn came, he hadn't slept. Neither had she. Morning light cut through the rain-streaked window. The couch was empty, the blanket folded. In the kitchen, Kenta made coffee. The bedroom door opened. Sumire stepped out, drowning in his spare shirt and sweatpants, her hair now dry but tangled.
She looks even smaller in my clothes. And that bruise. It's darker in the light.
They sat across from each other at the small table, 2 cups of coffee between them. The plastic bag rested on the corner, still unopened.
Sumire, are you okay? Do you need a doctor?
Number. I am fine. I just had nowhere else to go.
Her voice cracked. The words barely made it out before the tears came, hot and sudden. Kenta leaned forward, his own coffee forgotten. He saw the bruise clearly now, the swelling fresh and deliberate.
You don't have to tell me, but I am listening.
He didn't press. He just waited, letting the silence do its work. Across the table, Sumire took a shaky breath.
My boyfriend. He's also my manager at the store. He's been hurting me.
She described the stockroom, the grip on her arm, the whispered threats. It had been going on for months.
Last night, he hit me harder than ever. I knew if I stayed, he might kill me.
She pulled the plastic bag onto her lap and opened it, revealing a passport, a small stack of cash, and a few clothes.
This is everything I could grab. I ran out the back while he was in the shower.
She chose his door, she said, because he was the only customer who ever called her by name and meant it.
All those nights, she was suffering right in front of me, and I never saw it.
Memories of her timid smile at the door flashed through his mind. He had thought nothing of it then.
I didn't know where else to go. I'm sorry for dragging you into this.
Kenta looked at the passport in her trembling hands and felt the weight of her life pressing into his own.
We need to go to the police. They'll protect you.
The moment the words left his mouth, Sumire's face went pale. She shook her head, backing away instinctively.
No, you don't understand. He said, no one would believe me. He knows people.
But you have the bruise, your passport. They can't ignore that.
He told me they'd just call him, and he'd make things worse. I can't risk it.
Kenta saw genuine terror in her eyes. It wasn't paranoia, it was lived experience.
If the police aren't an option, what's left? I'm just a salaryman.
His phone buzzed, a message from work, another missed deadline. He silenced it without looking. They sat in the growing tension, two strangers bound by a secret with no clear path forward. The plastic bag still sat on the table, its contents a silent accusation of his uselessness.
I can't just hide her. I could ask a friend, but that puts them in danger too.
The walls of his apartment seemed to close in. Every idea he grasped crumbled into fear of making things worse.
He knows my old address. He'll check there first, then come looking. It's only a matter of time.
Kenta's hand hesitated, hovering over hers, then withdrew. He wasn't sure what she needed or what he could offer. Her phone lit up with a photo she'd scrolled to, a selfie of her and Takuya, his arm tight around her, a smile on a face she now flinched from. The same hand that had once held her gently now left bruises. The contrast made Kenta's stomach turn.
That monster. How could he do that to someone and still smile like nothing's wrong? We'll figure something out. I won't let him near you again.
He said it with more conviction than he felt. The words hung in the air, a promise he had no idea how to keep. Outside, the rain had stopped, but the silence it left behind felt heavier. Somewhere out there, a man was hunting.
Wait, my sister? Mizuki runs a legal aid clinic. Why didn't I think of her sooner?
He hadn't spoken to Mizuki in months. They weren't close, but she had helped women like Sumire before.
I have a sister. She helps domestic violence survivors. She might know what to do.
Your sister? She won't. She won't think I am lying?
Involving her means admitting I can't handle this alone. But this isn't about my pride anymore.
The image of Takuya's smiling face and the bruise on Sumire's cheek burned in his mind. There was no time for hesitation. He grabbed his phone and scrolled to his contacts, his thumb trembling slightly on the screen. A single name glowed in the dim light: Mizuki, Legal Aid Clinic Director. His finger hovered over the call button. Once he pressed it, everything would change. Sumire watched, holding her breath. The silence in the room was absolute. He pressed the call button. The dial tone cut through the silence like a heartbeat, loud and insistent.
Kenta, it's been a while. Is everything okay?
No, it's not. I have a woman here. She's been hurt. Her boyfriend. He's her manager. She needs help, Mizuki.
Is she safe right now? Are there visible injuries? Tell me exactly what happened.
He described the bruise, the escape, the bag of essentials. He heard the shift in her voice, professional, steady.
Don't move. I am on my way. Keep her calm and don't let anyone in.
The call ended. Kenta stared at the phone, a strange mix of relief and dread settling in his chest. He had done the only thing he could.
She's coming. My sister is on her way. She believes us.
Sumire's hands tightened around the plastic bag. For the first time since that frantic knock, a fragile hope flickered in her swollen eyes. They waited in the small apartment, the silence now filled with the quiet hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of traffic. Mizuki was coming. Help was on the way. The minutes stretched thin. Sumire kept glancing at the door, her fingers drumming against the plastic bag. Every sound from the street made her flinch.
What if he finds me before she gets here? He's not stupid. Kenta, he'll come looking.
Kenta moved to the door, checking the lock. He peered through the peephole, but the corridor was empty. A car engine cut in the parking lot. Sumire froze, her face draining of color. Kenta held up a hand, listening. Footsteps approached, measured, purposeful. A sharp knock. Kenta opened the door to Mizuki, her glasses glinting under the hall light.
Where is she? I need to see her.
Mizuki walked in like a force of nature, her presence instantly filling the small room. She knelt in front of Sumire, her voice softening.
I am Mizuki. You are safe now. Can you show me where it hurts?
Sumire stared at her, eyes wide. Then, slowly, she moved her fingers to the bruise. A single nod. Kenta stepped back, unseen. In the space of a breath, the chaos had bent itself into something like order.
Start from the beginning. I need every detail, names, dates, what he said. I'll write it all down.
Sumiya's voice was barely a whisper, but Mizuki caught every word. The pen scratched across the page, turning pain into evidence.
You are not alone in this. I've seen cases like yours too many times. We know how to fight back.
Can you really stop him? He said. No one would believe me. If this fails, he'll kill me.
We have a shelter where you'll be safe. Legal aid to press charges. Counseling for the trauma. I promise he won't touch you again.
Kenta leaned against the kitchen counter, breathing easier. The weight was no longer his alone. From her briefcase, Mizuki produced a crisp document. The header read, "Application for restraining order." She began filling it in immediately.
I need his full name, his workplace address. We'll file this today and have it served by evening.
Takuya Ito, shift manager at the 710 on Sakura Street. He'll be there right now.
Mizuki handed Sumire the pen. With a shaking hand, she signed. The document became a shield. The reversal was complete. Mizuki pulled out her phone and dialed. The first call was to the police precinct, the second to the women's shelter across town.
Yes, I am with the victim now. I need an officer here to take a statement and serve a restraining order. The perpetrator is at his workplace.
She spoke in quick, precise bursts, pulling strings Kenta didn't know she controlled. He just watched, useless but relieved.
Will I have to see him again? In court, or...
Not today. With the restraining order and arrest warrant, he won't get near you. We'll handle the rest.
Kenta's phone buzzed again. His boss, demanding a report. He turned it face down. Nothing mattered outside these walls. The plastic bag that had been her entire world was now just a bag. She set it beside her, fingers finally relaxing.
They're sending 2 officers. They'll be here in 20 minutes. The shelter has a room ready.
For the first time all morning, the air in the apartment felt breathable. Not safe, but closer to it than they'd been in hours. Now they waited for the police. Sumire's hands were still, but her eyes kept drifting toward the door, half expecting it to burst open. A firm knock cut through the silence. Kenta opened the door to 2 uniformed officers, their expressions grim but calm.
This is real. They're really here. What if he somehow finds out?
This is the victim. I've already taken her preliminary statement. She has visible injuries consistent with assault.
The older officer knelt to Sumire's level, notebook in hand. His partner photographed the bruise, the shutter loud in the silence.
He grabbed me in the stockroom last night. I ran. That's everything I have in that bag.
We have his location. I've already filed the restraining order. Arrest him before he knows she's talked.
The officers nodded, took the signed statement, and left. The room felt smaller without them. Sumire exhaled for what felt like the first time.
Time to go. The shelter is expecting us. Kenta, keep this safe for her.
Mizuki gently took the plastic bag from Sumire and pressed it into Kenta's hands. Sumire looked back at him, her eyes saying what words couldn't. Then she was gone, the door clicking shut behind her. Kenta stood alone, clutching the bag that still felt warm from her grip. The apartment had never felt so empty. The apartment stayed silent until his phone buzzed. Mizuki's name lit up the screen, and he answered before the second ring.
It's done. Takuya resisted, but he's in custody. Sumire is safe.
Safe. The word felt foreign, like a language he'd forgotten. A knot in his chest loosened.
He looked at the plastic bag on the table. It was no longer a lifeline, just a worn piece of plastic with her things inside.
She'll need a few days to settle, but you should visit. It would mean a lot to her.
Yeah, I'll come.
That night he didn't toss and turn. Sleep came, heavy and dreamless, until the dream crept in. In the dream, he opened the door again. Same rain, same knocking, but this time, Sumir smiled, unharmed. He woke before dawn, the image seared behind his eyes. The bag sat on the nightstand, a silent promise he had to keep. 3 days later, Kenta stepped into the shelter's sunlit common room. The air smelled of clean linen and fresh coffee, a world away from his cramped apartment. Sumire walked in, wearing a soft blouse and jeans, borrowed but clean. Her hair was pulled back, the bruise now a faint green smudge.
Kenta-kun, thank you for coming. I don't know how to thank you.
They sat across from each other, an unfamiliar distance between them. She was no longer the trembling woman at his door, but not yet the person she would become.
Mizuki-san found me a transitional apartment. I move next week. She's also helping with a job at a bookstore.
That's great. If you need anything, money, help moving, I could.
Number, you've done enough. More than anyone ever has. I need to do this on my own now.
He saw the strength in her eyes, the same fierce will that had made her run through the rain. He nodded, accepting.
This is yours. I kept it safe.
She took the bag and clutched it to her chest, the same way she had on that rain-soaked night. But this time, her hands were steady. He left without promises. The door clicked shut, and Sumire stood alone in the quiet, a relic of her past in her arms, and the future entirely her own. Months folded into each other. Kenta returned to work, but his phone became a lifeline for Mizuki's updates, brief calls that pulled him from spreadsheets.
Samir started at the bookstore. She moved into her own place last weekend. The counselor says she's making real progress. She wants to see you. Just coffee, nothing heavy. Can you do Saturday?
Coffee. She's ready. But am I? I haven't seen her in months. What do I even say?
Saturday came. At the corner cafe, Kenta spotted her immediately. She wore a light cardigan over a dress, her hair cut to her shoulders. She looked whole.
Kenta-kun, you came. I was a little nervous you wouldn't recognize me. I love the bookstore. My coworkers are kind, and my apartment has this tiny balcony where I grow herbs. I am actually happy.
She's laughing. Actually, laughing. Not the fragile girl from the rain, but someone who built herself back from nothing.
Maybe we could do this again? Once a month. Just to catch up.
He agreed, and they clinked their cups, a small toast, to a future neither could have imagined on that rainy night. 6 months slipped by at the corner cafe, where laughter and ordinary life slowly stitched wounds closed.
I got promoted. Lead floor manager now. Mizuki-san said it was because of my recommendation letters.
She said my name like a lifeline once. Now she stands alone. When did I start feeling this?
Thank you, Kenta-kun. Not for saving me. For waiting until I could save myself.
The thanks landed differently. No tears, just the steady calm of someone who had rebuilt herself from ashes.
Don't ruin this. She's not a victim anymore. She's something more.
They clinked cups again. The sound carrying an unspoken weight, a bridge neither dared cross. He watched her laugh. For the first time, the ghost of that night didn't haunt the space between them.
Same time next month? You never talk about yourself, Kenta-kun. I want to hear your story too.
He nodded, burying his feelings. If friendship was what she needed, he would give her that and wait. 1 year to the day, Sumire texted him a location, not their cafe, but a quiet park bench under the same gray sky. She was already there, a small wrapped box on her lap. She stood when she saw him, a nervous smile flickering.
I didn't want to do this at the cafe. This is something I need you to have.
Kenta took the box, unwrapped it slowly. Beneath the white paper lay familiar navy fabric, her old delivery uniform, washed and folded.
Her uniform. She kept it, after everything.
I washed it, pressed every crease. I couldn't throw it away. It's the last piece of that life.
Pinned to the collar was a small note, 6 words in her handwriting. "Thank you for saving my life." The letters were steady. No tears, no tremble. This was not a cry for help. It was closure.
I am ready to move forward now, Kenta-kun. Completely.
He clutched the uniform, the note brushing his thumb. The weight was not heavy. It was the lightest thing he had ever held. They walked through the park as dusk fell, cherry blossoms drifting around them. A year ago, she had run through freezing rain.
I was so scared, Kenta-kun. Not just of him, but of letting anyone close after. But with you, it was different. I trust you. For the first time since that night, I feel like I can let someone in without being afraid.
She's stronger than anyone I know. After everything, she still chose to open her heart. Sumire, you are the bravest person I've ever known. I don't just admire your strength, I am in awe of it.
They stopped beneath a street lamp, its soft glow catching the determination in her eyes. She didn't look away. Slowly, Kenta reached down and took her hand. His fingers trembled slightly, but her grip was steady. It was the first time they had touched beyond necessity. The gesture said more than any confession could.
So, does this mean our coffee dates just got an upgrade?
They walked on, hands still clasped, the cherry blossoms drifting around them. The future felt less like a question and more like an answer. 2 years dissolved into a rhythm of shared meals, quiet evenings, and a love that never stopped earning its place. They still met at the corner cafe, but now they shared a single slice of cake without asking. Mizuki joined them for dinners, watching Sumire bloom with a pride that silenced her usual sharp wit. They decorated her apartment together, fairy lights above the bookshelves, herbs still thriving on the tiny balcony. On the 2nd anniversary of that rainy night, Kenta led her back to the park. The cherry blossoms were in full bloom.
Kenta-kun, you've been so quiet all evening. What's going on in that head of yours?
He didn't answer. Instead, he knelt on the petal-covered grass and opened a small box.
Sumire, will you let me be the one who walks beside you for the rest of our lives?
Yes, 1,000 times, yes.
She pulled him up and into her arms. Under a shower of petals, the 2 broken souls from that rainy night finally became whole. On a quiet spring morning, cherry blossoms drifting past the window, Kenta and Sumire stood before Mizuki and a small gathering. The rain of that night was a distant memory. They exchanged simple gold bands, the metal cool against their skin, but warming with the promise of forever.
This ring, it feels like the end of a long storm.
Mizuki wiped her eyes behind her glasses, uncharacteristically quiet as she watched the 2 souls she had helped unite. In the photograph taken that day, their smiles were not those of a rescued and a rescuer, but of equals who had chosen each other. The uniform and the plastic bag were now just relics tucked away in a box, no longer defining her. The worst night of Sumire's life had become the foundation for a lifetime of love. Years later, when asked about how they met, they would simply say, "She knocked at 3 a.m., and they would smile. Some stories don't need explaining. The rain never felt so far away. Their apartment had become a sanctuary. The same couch, the same window, but now it faced a different sky. On quiet evenings they sat together, a comfortable silence between them, the weight of the past long since lifted. Their hands, now adorned with simple bands, held coffee cups that no longer shook. The herbs on the balcony grew untended, lush and wild, a testament to a life no longer in survival mode. And when Sumire came home from work, she opened the door to find Kenta already there, and she smiled. The peephole that once showed a trembling silhouette now reflected only the hallway's calm. Outside, on nights when rain fell, it no longer felt like a threat. It was just weather. The rings on their fingers caught the light, small circles of gold that held an infinite story. The worst night had become the first chapter, The rest was written in quiet mornings and shared laughter, and sometimes, when the world was still, they would remember that knock and be grateful for the answer. Tonight, a light rain tapped against the window, a gentle rhythm on the glass. Inside, the apartment was warm, filled with the scent of simmering tea and the soft hum of a familiar tune. Kenta and Sumire sat together on the couch, no words needed, their hands resting comfortably intertwined. A photograph of their wedding day sat on the shelf, a reminder not of pain, but of perseverance. Mizuki had visited earlier, leaving behind a box of pastries, and her usual brisk advice now tinged with affection. The plastic bag was long gone, but in its place were small tokens of a life built together. A shared scarf, a worn book, a grocery list. Sumire smiled, leaning her head against Kenta's shoulder. The storm she had run from was a distant echo. They didn't speak of that night often, but when they did, it was with a quiet reverence. Outside, the rain continued, a soft applause on the window pane, as if the world itself was celebrating. The door that once held a desperate knock now stood as a threshold to everything that came after. A home, a future, a love that began in the rain.